about this the other day. I was thinking, now with everyone, they say 60%, 80%, everyone's been vaccinated. I'm using vaccinated. Just when I say vaccinated, that means I'm using it in parentheses because I'm using it, or in quotes, because it's really not vaccinated. It's not a vaccine. It has nothing to do with that. And people say it's the gene therapy.
Do you have the exact definition where it went from to what it became?
We have the inventor of mRNA vaccines sitting right to my right here. Robert, is this vaccine or is it a gene therapy?
As I've said repeatedly, it came out of a gene therapy research program. These and the adenoviral vectors are absolutely gene therapy technology applied for the purpose of eliciting an immune response.
I don't care what the FDA says. There's your answer right there.
How this was implemented as a gene therapy, but they couldn't sell it like that because they needed emergency use authorization, EUA, in order to go through with what they wanted to go through and the whole plan and scheme of it. But anyways, that's not what I'm talking about here. But so 60% or 80%, let's say 60, let's say 80% of the population has been injected with this thing that they call a vaccine. All right, and whether that is the U.S. or that's Russia or South America or China or wherever we're talking. Now, if you come to a situation, you yourself, your family member, and you are ones that have held out, held true, stayed strong, and said, no, I'm not doing this at all, I'm not going along with this, for whatever reason, a religious thing, or because of what you've read, or because of just your full philosophy on things, that kind of stuff, natural, whatever it is, doesn't matter. You just sort of like, no, this is my bottom line, this is where I draw the line in the sand, this is where I say, absolutely not. Or maybe this isn't, maybe before this there's other things where you resisted too, but anyways, you're there, you're one of those people who stayed away. Well, something happens, you get in a car accident, or you get a huge other accident happens, something tremendous happens where you need a blood transfusion, or it's something medical, you need to go in and you need to have a blood transfusion. You somehow have to give blood. And there's blood banks all over and that kind of stuff, which is great, that they do this and it's provided. But now I got to thinking, I'm like, but what happens if that happens to me or my children or, family members or friends or whatever, and they don't want to be, I guess not even inject. They don't have any sense or anything to do with these injected bloodlines, if you want to call it that, or the gene therapy bloods. They want gene therapy free blood, or they want vaccine free blood. They want spike protein free blood. They want it how it used to be. How it used to be before 2020 or 2021, once these jabs started happening that they call vaccines, falsely call them vaccines. But anyways, where can you go? How are you going to find it? It's horrible because now you can give blood after getting a flu shot and COVID-19 shot and all the booster shots and all that kind of stuff. You can go get those shots and go in and give blood. No big deal. No questions asked. That's that. But now you got all these blood banks, you got all this amount of blood that, in my opinion, is tainted. Because you can't tell me that you're taking this blood that now have spike proteins in them, and they have this gene therapy in it, and once you put it in a blood bank, that is the same thing as not having gene therapy in it, is not having some sort of something that was injected into the bloodstream that is something more than just natural. So now this, in my opinion, these are all been compromised. So what do? I was just thinking, I was like, well, as time goes on, and more people are dying off, and more and more people are being born, the people that are being born, we'll say to the 80%, let's say we have 80% vaccination, 80% injected across the world, which it's not that high in my opinion, but it'll just go with 80%. That means that 80% of all the children being born already have this in them because they were born with it. They were born this gene therapy blood. They're born with this vaccinated, if you want to call it that, blood, with the spike protein active blood, whatever you want to call it. They have it already. So now as time goes on, there's going to be less and less people born into this world who have gene therapy free blood, vaccine free blood, spike protein free blood, a natural blood that have just natural human blood that are not tainted at all, in my opinion, my words. So the longer and longer time goes on, the less and less people are going to be out there that are whatever, I'll say 100% natural, all natural, whatever you want to call it. But that's not what this is about. I mean, yes, if people have been waking up and they're adamant with this, then there might be some sort of resistance, some sort of, well, now the people who haven't been injected, the people who haven't been tainted, the people who don't have the spike proteins, they need to find other people, other mates, other people to get with, to populate, so we can try to build up the community of people who have not, had this injected in them, don't have the spike protein, which that might, I'm not saying that's going to happen, I'm just saying that may be something that is in someone else's mind. That may be something that needs to happen. I don't know. I'm seeing this window closing and closing. So what are you going to do? And I was thinking, I was like, well, I don't know. Well, I was reading Natural News, Mike Adams' Natural News, and he had a story on there from the company Della Pietra, I believe. They started a new safe blood donation service to provide clean, unvaccinated blood for patients needing transfusions. And I thought, this is great. And I'm reading into it, and I believe it was one of the founders of this. These are a couple of quotes from them. I've never seen blood like this. Petra says about the anomalies he observed upon investigating fully jabbed blood, which prompted him to start safe blood donation in the first place. Another quote from him was, "This was, to be honest, the main reason I started the whole thing, because when I saw this, I was horrified." That's a quote from him. So that's why he started the safe blood donation. And as of now, right now, safe blood donation has members in at least 16 countries, where the goal is to establish blood banks that provide unvaccinated plasma for their members. The plan is also to pressure more hospitals and health authorities into allowing directed donations of specifically unvaccinated blood at traditional blood donation centers. And I know that goes along with the story that I read not too long ago of some people who had a child that needed a blood transfusion, and the parents were adamant they did not want any blood that was tainted or vaccinated or whatever they used for their term for that. And people stepped forward and had matching blood types, and they said, yes, we'll donate. We'll donate to this child so they can have, clean blood, untainted, spike protein-free blood, whatever you want to call it. And it was refused. The hospital refused it. The judge refused it. And I believe, my memory serves me, CPS, Children's Protective Services, stepped in and took the child away. I have not followed up with that in the last couple of weeks, but I mean that's real. It's really happening. So medical authorities only allow directed donations in specific situations where it is medically necessary, such as to source a rare blood type, but refuse growing requests for unvaccinated blood on ethical and medical grounds. So right there, I mean, you got these places refusing unvaccinated blood because of whatever, feelings or whatever they're selling it for. It doesn't matter. Medical and ethical grounds, they say, but that's a bunch of BS. So that the safe blood thing is having issues and problems. And the reason why safe blood donation is running into some difficulties with this is because the official sources, official in quotes, including the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, all insist there is no difference between vaccinated and unvaccinated blood. Well, if the FDA is saying there's no difference between vaccinated and unvaccinated blood, right there on its face is a false statement, because the blood itself isn't vaccinated, because the thing it's been injected with, the spike protein, this gene therapy, is not a vaccine. So on its face, that's a false statement. Overall. So anyways, that's just something I just reading that, I just thought of that. I'm just saying this, I have no solutions for this, but I want people to be aware and think about this, and think about, are there solutions for me and my community, my family? Are there other things we can do? You may not need it now. People may not, now may not need it now, but there might be a time that it comes where it may be needed, and this is real. So I just want to get people thinking about this. And if you're 100%, you're like, oh, well, it's fine. Well, so be it. That's all on you. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just throwing this out there. These are my opinions. This is what I'm thinking about this, and I think it's a big deal. It's a really big deal, especially on the level of you children who are adolescents, they're preteens, they're teens, that kind of stuff, and maybe even a little older, maybe 20, and they're out there finding boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever, and they're serious, they want to get married, they want to have a family. Well, now, at least in my head, I'm thinking, for my children, it's like, well, now they have to be aware of, and they have to look out for, do I want to go with anyone? Do I want to get a relationship started with anyone, no matter if they've been gene therapied, they've had this in them, the spike protein, this vaccine, if you want to call it that, or do I want to seek out people who are 100% natural blood? And if that's the case, that's a whole nother wrench. The scheme of dating, the scheme of things, the scheme of everything for families. But anyways, like I said, I don't have any solutions. I'm just throwing this out there because this was something that was on my mind. And I'm like, I think maybe people want to start thinking about this. Not to scare anyone, but just get people active. Maybe there's someone out there that comes up with a great idea and says, well, that Save Blood donation place is a great idea. I would like to get in contact with them, or it's a great idea, but I got this idea that might be better, might be the same, might be worse, but people keep churning out ideas and making people aware of it. That's the way we get ahead of this. That's the way we figure this thing out. Because we're not ahead of it right now. We're behind it. We're getting further and further away. But anyways, I thank you for watching. If you like this, like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And as always, stay vigilant. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your health, and protect your life.